Now, it's a new year, and I want to welcome you to the very first episode of the Gavel for the year 2015. I'm Lanre Lasese, and I will guide you through this episode that will be our bridge between the last week of 2014 and the birth of 2015. It's a year that holds a lot for the legislature and the country. A year that will see the end of the 7th Assembly and the dawn of the 8th National Assembly. Let's start with this report that looks at the year in review. Now, when you look at the year preceding an election year in Nigeria, the upcoming elections often appear to have an impact on government institutions and governance in general. Now, the upcoming elections loomed very large in the National Assembly as federal lawmakers were more concerned with securing their seats in the coming year. The politics of defection reached a climax during the year with the defection of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, from the ruling People's Democratic Party to the opposition All Progressive Congress.
I wish to hereby formally notify all of you of my membership of the All Progressive Congress.
His defection set off a chain of events. First, he was stripped of his security details, and then the PDP and the Speaker engaged in a torrent of court litigations. But none of this shocked Nigerians as much as the incident of November the 20th, 2014. Security officials stormed the National Assembly in an attempt to prevent some lawmakers from gaining access to the chambers of the House of Representatives.
Defection has really affected the performance of the House of Representatives. As it is now, we are not this House that started the journey in June 2011. We are now more or less in two groups.
In the midst of the political realignments in the National Assembly during the year, federal lawmakers passed some critical bills, such as the Pension Reform Bill, the National Health Bill, as well as the 2014 budget. The National Assembly also concluded work on the amendment of the 1999 Constitution and transmitted it to the state houses of assembly. Some critical areas passed by both chambers are local government autonomy and financial autonomy for state houses of assembly. But the National Assembly was unable to pass one critical bill, the Petroleum Industry Bill. The bill has been in the National Assembly for the past 3 years, and it is not likely to be passed by the present set of lawmakers.
It takes just more than a legislative to pass a bill like that. There's some bills all over the world that are so key that you find out that it's an executive bill. It is owned by government. It is owned not only by government, it's owned by the president. Sometimes you watch in America sometimes where the president on bills like that, he engages legislators on a one-on-one. What are the issues? It's not a bill that just comes on rules of business, order paper, and not a bill like PIB.
2014 was also a year that saw lawmakers in both chambers go on a warpath with the executive. Both chambers refused to give approval to the extension of emergency rule in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states.
When insurgency was taking place in the Niger Delta, was there a state of emergency in the Niger Delta before the operations of the military were undertaken, and successfully too? I believe that we could do without the state of emergency in the Northeast too.
And that was not all. Some lawmakers mooted the idea of impeaching President Goodluck Jonathan.
There are 63 of us that have signed. I think my signature was the fourth, but I can confirm to you by the last week there are 63 signatures.
The Senate and the House of Representatives also conducted some critical investigations during the year, such as the probe of the immigration recruitment exercise and the alleged missing $49.8 billion. Federal lawmakers assess how the National Assembly fared in 2014.
When you look at the content of the bills that were really debated and the motions that were debated, up until now, I would say no. The Senate has really done well in that area.
I would say proudly that by my own assessment, the National Assembly has fared, has kept to its promise, has kept to its commitment to Nigerians, in the terms of discharging their legislative functions, their representative functions, their oversight functions, and whatever you may think of. For the first time in the history of this country, the legislature has been able to call the executive to order.
I think a lot of things we should have done better. I think we perform, in my view, but even including myself personally, because it's collective responsibility, I think we perform below the expectation. We could have provided better guidance, better oversight to the performance of the executive.
But the real assessment will be carried out by Nigerians who will be going to the polls in 2015.